to apply the concept. So we have some information about the Carson company. Created 20 years ago and originally financed with the equity investment by Carson family and 10 other individuals. But over time, firm obtained a loan from the finance company and a commercial bank. The interest rate tied to the market interest rate and adjusted every 6 months. So we have a case of the variable market, variable or floating, right? Because it's based on a market adjusted every 6 months based on the market reference rate. Cost of obtaining fund is sensitive to interest rate movement, okay? We have the credit lines. Firm have a credit line with a bank in case of suddenly needs additional fund for temporary period. Okay, so credit line. And so it purchased a treasury security that could sell if they experience any liquidity problems. Okay, treasury security. But if they hold the security for the liquidity problems, it is very in short term, right? Treasury bill, treasury note, for example. So about the financial position, about the interest rate, okay, about the sources of fund. Carson company has an asset value about 50 million and the sale about 100 million per year. Some of the role are attributed to the acquisition of other firms. Firm plans to grow in the future by expanding the business and making more acquisition, okay, to do M&A. It expects that it will need the long-term financing and plan to borrow additional fund either by loans or by issuing the bond. So firm considering also issuing stock so they can raise the fund for the business expansion, merger acquisition by the bank loans, the bond issue, or even the stock issue next year. Firm closely monitor condition in financial market could affect the cash flow and inflow and outflow, and thereby affect the value. Okay. We have the question number 1. Question number 1, A. In what way a Carson is surplus unit? You know, surplus unit who have the excessive cash, okay? And they are the saver, they are the lender, they are the investor, okay? So anyone? Any idea for that? Okay, good. Trọng Đức, you mentioned about, let me see, invest in treasury security. Good job. Correct. Firm invest in treasury security and it providing fund to the treasury. Okay, the issuer of those security. They providing fund, they invest the fund in the treasury, provide the fund to the treasury, to the government, right? So here we have the treasury security. Treasury security. Okay. And it could sell it if experience any liquidity problems. So again, about the treasury security, we have the treasury bill. We have the T-bill, right? They are the money market instrument. Remember, the maturity less than 1 year. The T-bill, we have the 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, okay? T-bond, and sorry, T-note, followed by the T-note. And then we have the T-bond, okay? T-note normally, we have like 1 to 10 years. But T-bond tend to normally, the maturity 10 to 30 years, okay? For providing funds to the treasury, to the government, okay? Question B. In what way the cousin is a deficit unit? They are able to issue the stock in bond. Yeah. Okay, come back to the history of the financial position. Firstly, the firm originally financed with the equity investment by cousin family and 10 other individuals. But over time, firm obtained the loans from the finance company and the commercial bank. Okay, so already, right? They raised funds from the finance company and the commercial bank, and variable interest rate here, variable interest rate, right? Scheme, and also it can issue the bond and stock, and also they want to obtain more loans, okay, from the bank next year. Okay, next year. Good job. Thank you. What next question we have? How might finance company facilitate the cousin expansion? Finance company, they provide the loans, right? Because they, the firm obtained the loan from finance company and commercial bank. So finance company and commercial bank provide loans to cousin, so that the cousin can expand the operation. Okay. Question E. Why my cousin have limited access to additional debt financing during the growth phase? Now, let's say cousin company already obtained fund loans from finance company and commercial bank. Okay, variable rate. But in order to raise more financing for merger acquisition or business expansion, it planned to borrow additional fund, not only from the loans of the finance company, commercial bank. Now they diversify the funding sources, right? Not only the bank loans, but also the bond or the stock. Okay. So, any reasons to make the cousin have a limited access to additional debt financing? Now they need to diversify, not only rely on the debt financing, bank loans from the commercial bank and the loans from the finance company. What do you think? Anyone? You mentioned about the debt financing here. Okay. Limited to additional debt financing. So you may have another, the details from the other subject. Let's say when you borrow money from the bank or the creditor or the finance company, normally they will issue like debt covenants, bond covenant or debt covenants. In this case, we have the debt covenants or the limitation, restriction, which restrict firm to raise the or to maintain, right? Restrict the firm to raise the debt financing or the level of debt up to some limited, okay, to limited amount. Let's say firm will not be allowed to borrow too much debt. They give some percentage or some number, okay? So condition, restriction or limitation from the creditor will not allow the firm to increase the debt or to, let's say, to set up a debt level, okay? So debt covenants from the existing creditor or firm may be already borrow up to the capacity, debt capacity. So financial institution may be not willing to lend more funds to firm if they have the too much debt, okay? So maybe if firm have too much debt, very difficult for firm, right, to raise more debt in this case, and also with the debt covenant restriction from the existing creditor. So in this case, firm need to diversify the funding sources. Equity, now we have the debt and we have the equity, right? Next one, number F. How might security firm facilitate cousin expansion? Maybe you not, we don't have the lecture about the security firm, but here we can mention security firm, they have the investment banking services. You need to remember that. Broker function, dealer function, and investment banking function. Through the investment banking function or the underwriter, okay? Underwriting the issue. Security firm may support, okay? Advise the cousin in the acquisition, also underwrite the stock issue. And the last one, wait me for 1 minute. And the last questions for you is number G. How might cousin use the primary market to facilitate the expansion? How might the firm use the primary and the secondary market for the business expansion? Here, business expansion is for the M&A, okay? Expand business through the merger acquisition, okay? So how might the firms at the deficit or net? They use the primary on the secondary market to facilitate the expansion. Anyone? You can turn on the mic if you have the idea on that. You remember about the primary market and the secondary market, okay? Primary market is for the issuing, the new instruments, raise the fund. Secondary market, it gives us a market for trading, liquidity, the information, and the pricing, okay? So hope that you still remember the main difference between the primary and the secondary market. So what the cousin involved? What does cousin involved in the primary market? What kind of transaction the cousin can have in the primary market in order to facilitate the expansion? Okay, they issue the stock. Good job. They issue the stock. They issue the bond. They issue the instruments to raise fund for merger acquisition. Okay. So correct. Issue the stock or bond. Obtain fund. So in primary market, obtain fund. Issue. Obtain fund. So in here, they have the stock and bond. Thank you. Number H. How might it yield the secondary market? In this case, how the cousin involved in the secondary market? The markets among the investor, between and among investor, provides a liquidity. Okay. Liquidity involve the trading, buying and selling, provide the information, and the pricing. Is that true? Is the role of the secondary market. So how the cousin use the secondary market? Anyone? Trading, liquidity. Any information mentioning about the liquidity of the company? Yeah. If they sell or buy treasury security involved in secondary market, yeah. Okay, actually, it can sell treasury security. So correct. Yeah. It had purchased and it could sell the treasury security to solve the liquidity problems. So in this case, the cousin may involve in secondary market when they sell the treasury security. Okay, to solve the liquidity problems. But they involve in the primary market by issuing, okay, to obtain fund. Good job. So I think it's enough for the flows of fund exercise, and also enough for the lecture number 1. There any questions so far? Clear enough? And then we move